Hola. From the west side. It is me, DCThePurpleDiva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Sunday, y'all. Super Bowl Sunday. First of all, let me say congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, uppity unicorn. Congratulations to those Kansas City Chiefs. They deserve it. You know, it was a good game. They were hungrier. Hey, 1SP. They were hungrier than the 49ers. And for the first time since 1967, the Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. Yeah, the halftime show was really good with Shakira and J-Lo. That was cool. David Uppity Unicorn said hi. Yeah, she says hi. So it was a good game, which is what we all hoped for. Even if you're not a football fan, the Super Bowl is that one game. And of course, as with everything, on the Super Bowl, we all were watching the commercials. So I think my favorite one was the one with the little boy, with the kids that ended up coming out onto the field because they had like all of these different, athletes in that. I think at one point in it, you have LeBron James going by with his cell phone taking pictures. So I like that commercial. I think it was kind of hilarious that 45 ran his daggone ad and used that lady that Kim Kardashian went to him, Alice. He used her for that ad. Are you trying to get the black vote, Mr. Trump? Because now he's touting all of the people that he is getting released. I don't know, y'all. Hey, Emmanuel. We can always talk about the Lord. Had a good service today, y'all. Good service. Now we did, as many people who are believers, we actually at my particular church, because my pastor is like a huge Kobe fan, we did talk about him at the beginning, but we didn't talk about really his athleticism, but we really talked about the things in his life that exhibited his life as a believer. Now you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Roman Catholicism. However, I did get saved when I was in the Catholic Church. Hey, tatted hearts. Oh, you still not feeling good? Oh, man. So, but, the one thing that we do know is that the day that Kobe left this world, the first thing he did that morning was he went to church before he got on that helicopter. So for me, that would exemplify that he had a relationship with the one above, you know. Oh man, you're gonna have to go to school sick. That sucks. You know, but I mean, we just talked about, you know, about that part of it, and then, you know, really we went on from there and just kind of talked about how every person, if you are a believer, how it is your, you know, duty as a believer to water, to let other people know just by your life. You don't have to be, you know, preachy and, you know, judgmental, but if you are a believer, your life should exemplify that, so that if a time would come and this person is ready, that, you know, hopefully you would be a good example to them. Thank you, 1SP. I appreciate that. I truly, truly do. I know it's a lot. Yeah, that's what I said. You know, because here's the thing. One of the things that we all see when you see these award ceremonies and everything on TV, everyone always says, I want to thank God. But not to get all relational with you on this, but do y'all ever wonder who they're talking about when they say they want to thank God? Because, you know, there are many gods. I mean, there's only one true one, but that doesn't have to be who they're actually thinking. And you often wonder that if they do this so that, you know, we don't offend people of other races, if, you know, you believe in the one true God, but why wouldn't you just say that? It's your award speech. You have freedom of speech, don't you, to say that? Why are people ashamed to say that? I just wonder. Hey, Anna's Kitchen. I'm not talking about being a Christian. I'm talking about being a believer. You know, because here's the thing. Even Yeshua wasn't a Christian. Yeshua wasn't a Christian. And the early believers didn't call themselves Christian. We all know that that's something that was decided on, you know, by the Roman Church. They made that name up. Yeah. But I'm just saying, when people say that, you know, I want to thank God, what God are they talking to? What, you know? What God are they talking about? Are they talking about the Most High? Yahweh? We don't know. We don't know that. We don't know. You know. And when people, you know, say that they're saved, what do they mean by that? You know? Are they talking about Yeshua? Yahweh? Are they talking about something else? It's just a question. It's just, you just have to wonder. And the reason I say that is because really the way to understand who a person truly is really by how they live their life. I hear what you're saying, 1SP. But what I'm saying is that everyone who believes in Yahweh as the one true God is not necessarily a Christian. So in saying that I'm a believer, hey, Matt. But, that's an interesting thought. I thought it was very beautiful that Yolanda Adams sang My Country 'Tis of Thee. I don't know, what is that song called? I just know how to sing it. I thought it was beautiful that she sang that song. Oh yeah, America the Beautiful. That's what it is.
Music lady.
Anyway. I didn't say I was a patriotic music lady. But I thought that was cool. Is there a phone ringing? Oh. Thank you, 1SP. America the Beautiful. That's the song how many of y'all, that's the song that we sang when I was a kid in school. All the time. We very rarely sang the Star Spangled Banner. And if you really break down the Star Spangled Banner, it's going to make you wonder why that's our national anthem. But we're going to but I'm digressing from what my subject matter is. But the word today was very good because it was really just about, how you live your life, and that your life should be a testament to what your faith is, your faith. In other words, if you say that you're a believer, then every other word out of your mouth shouldn't be a curse word. You shouldn't, you should try at least not to be using that kind of language. And, different things that may be in your life. Like, for example, part of what the message was is that the minister talked about things that he did when he was younger. Like, he was a gambler and he liked the street race. Keep in mind, this is Los Angeles. So they do a lot of street racing here. And I was into that when I was younger as well. So he was just saying that was something that he did when he was younger, when he was, and also when he was a young believer at the same time. And that he got caught by someone who was younger than him. And they asked him if that was okay when they saw him out doing these things. And that convicted him. And he realized that people, when you say that you're a believer, people watch you. They do. They watch how you live your life. So, if you're going to say that you are a believer, then your life should kind of exemplify that. And as I said once before, let me go back and say this again. Believing in Yahweh has nothing to do with being a Christian. As a matter of fact, there are many people who believe that Yeshua is the one true Son of God who are not Christians. Okay? So, yeah, I'll put that out there, and there are ones who call themselves Jews who are not Jews. Well, we've spoken about that before. That's why I made the statement that I made, 1SP, because for that very reason, many people reject the ideology of Christianity. And they don't really want to put themselves in there. They just want to identify the fact of what their belief, who they believe in, you know. But for all intents and purposes, even though many of us may not consider ourselves, Christians, but by the world standards, they still look at us. They still look at you, everyone that way that, follows. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know that the one true God was first on the continent of Africa. We know this. We know this. We know this. And that's why we know that those that call themselves Jews, are converts and are not the ancient Hebrews. So, I'm just reading what else is going on in the chat. You claim manimism. I get you, 1SP. I get you on that. And I will tell you, and one of the things that I think that is one of the reasons why within, quote unquote, the Protestant part of, quote unquote, Christianity, you have somewhat separatism within, the Black, quote unquote, church, where you have African, the AMEs, who did bring part of their African roots into their religion, so to speak. And you've got some breakoffs where you have people of color that try to bring in their own, customs from that have been handed down. But many times that's why you've got the issues with the belief systems, with not understanding what's truly going on with voodoo and hoodoo, and then you got Santeria. All of these things that, have mixtures of things that came from the continent of Africa, even though there was monotheism and still is monotheism on the continent. There were portions that were not monotheistic. But we know that there were in several nations, because there's history about these rulers who were monotheistic and kept and wanted their country to be that way. Well, see, here's the thing, 1SP. Although the church I go to is considered a non-denominational Christian church, one of the things, my church is a Bible church, so we are really about what's in the Bible, and my pastor looks at many different, translations. We don't just rely on the King James, because we can look at, go back and look at the Hebrew and the Greek and the Aramaic and all of that. And one of the things that she has always made a good point of bringing in, number one, is the presence of people that we would call Black today, all through the Old Testament and the New Testament. You know, I mean, it's ludicrous for people to think that Yeshua had blonde hair and blue eyes, and they were somehow able to go mingle into Egypt as a 2 to 4 year old. You know, people don't really understand the true migration of the ancient Hebrews, because that part of their history is lost. You know, nobody knows what it is. So unfortunately, another group has acquired their history and made it their own, and made it like they're them when they're not. Hi, Heaven Sent. Yeah, my pastor is she's good. She's good. And I know a lot of people, you know, I would say within Christianity, a lot of them do not believe in female pastors for whatever reasons. However, if you look in the word, you will see that there were many female pastors in the early church that wasn't Christian, by the way. Yeah. So, you know, and I think because of some of the stuff that's in the European church, that's one of the reasons why there was the split where you have that Greek Orthodox, which is, they don't call themselves Christians, but that religion also came out of Judaism. You know, the people who, you know, believed that Yeshua was the Son of God. And they don't do some of the things that you see in Roman Catholicism. I mean, the mixture of paganism. You know, I could go into a huge in-depth conversation about Roman Catholicism, but I think I will I will save that for a specific live stream to just talk about that specifically, because it's a lot. But what I will say is that if you want to know who's in, you know, the history that's actually documented in the Bible, you need to look at it. And if you know the demographics of the places that are named in there, like Canaan, you know, I mean, it talks about Ethiopia. It you know, it tells you, you know, rivers like the Tigris and the Euphrates. You know where these places are located. You have to understand who were the people that lived in that region. And looking at it from that logical standpoint, you come to the understanding that people of color were always in, you know, God's plan. You know, it was, we're all in there. You know, no one needed to bring it to us. We already had it. You know, no one needed to bring the word of God to us. We already had it. So I'm doing good today, Heaven Sent. Yeah, I agree with you, 1SP. I'll be looking for that video too. But yeah, there's a lot of religion for profit. I mean, you know, I told you guys that I see many things going on in different sectors of Black YouTube. And one of the places where I've seen, a bunch of beef going on is over in the religious sector. Go figure. Because of scandalous ministers. We all know they're out there. They unfortunately put a black eye on relationship. That's why, people tend to stay away from religion. Yeah, King David. That's who my son is named after. That's why we call him King David. King David. Because King David was a man after God's own heart. And he was also a praise warrior. And my son is a praise warrior. That's why we gave him that name. That'll be interesting, a series on King David. Yeah, so people can really understand. Because, people have it confused. They think that, when David got with Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, that, they don't understand that, Uriah's and Bathsheba and all of the people that were under, they were all people of color, as was David. Let me see. I'm looking to see what. Matt's laughing. But that would be very interesting, and I think I'm gonna say, like, I know people that have gone over to the continent and they've gone to, quote unquote, what you would call Christian churches there. They have a very different view. They don't feed into the European standard. We would be embarrassed, what we call worshiping the Most High. They can do it for hours and hours and not be tired and be ready to go for some more hours, just in praise and in prayer. And it's not for show. I know that, but that's what I'm saying. 1SP is that a lot of people don't get into the Word of God that way. They're intimidated by it, or they're not. If they are going to a fellowship, they're not in a fellowship that is really going in depth into the Bible and looking at different translations and not just holding on to a King James version. That's why I say these Black Israelites, they have part of the truth. They just don't have the entire truth. And then they distort the part of the truth that they have. They're correct when they say that, that we are descendants. Many of us are descendants of the real ancient Hebrews. But the problem is that they go about it, they talk crazy, to people who may not be woke to that knowledge, and then they twist the stuff. And there's nothing, with being disrespectful to other people of color, because they don't hold your same beliefs. And that's not the way to get them to understand or to, know that we're in there, that we're in the word. There are a lot of religious scams going on. I mean, they're not just going on in Africa. They're just going on, period. Unfortunately. But I also see people that have nothing in countries in Africa that make money. Money seems to fall out of the sky to them because of their faith in the Most High. It's crazy. The manifestations from true belief. And I'm not saying that, if you people have faith and something doesn't happen, that it's because that faith wasn't strong enough. That's crazy. But if you're believing in it and it's within the Most High's will, then it's going to happen. And I mean, obviously, there's always going to be actions that you have to take as well. Well, yeah, 1SP, you're talking about the Crusades. I mean, again, like for me, because I grew up in Roman Catholicism, I learned it one way as a child, but as an adult, when I really went and looked at things and really understood and started studying, world religions and finding out the truth about the Roman Catholic Church, I had a good understanding, because they were forcing people who already believed in one God to accept their version of one God with the statues and the paganism involved in it. And the people didn't want to accept that. And then a lot of them, refused it and went towards Islam because of this. I'm just reading what you're saying. The Crusaders. Yeah, the Crusader soldiers, what 1SP is talking about is that they gave these men special dispensations to do this. Like they were doing the work of the Lord. Crusaders were fanaticals. That's the way that it was, and they felt that they were absolute, that they were sent by God to do this stuff. And it was horrific. God's will. They killed many people. And that's not of God. God doesn't have to force you to believe in him. The Most High doesn't have to force anyone to come to him. He doesn't, that's not how he operates. That's how man operates. Yes, absolutely, uppity unicorn. Absolutely. They were the worst thing that happened. Pretty much through that event, they pretty much destroyed the true church. A remnant was left on the continent. Because they assumed that they were right and that Africans were savages and had no true belief system. Like, where the heck do they think their religions came from? Craziness, just madness. That's what I'm saying. The Pope was acting like he was God. That's my, that's my issue with, that's one of my issues with Catholicism. The Pope is not God, especially some of these, some of the people that they've had as popes were lunatics, were sexual deviants. Disclaimer, this is for, not for the faint at heart. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things were done in the name of the Most High that had nothing to do with the Most High and had everything to do with grabbing land and greed. It's about the power. I mean, think about it. What other denomination has their own little kingdom that's exempt from the rules of the country that surrounds it? They have their own little banking system. They have their own little post office. They have their own little government. What other church has that but the Roman Catholic Church? Things like that are very, you just have to think about that. Is it a church or is it politics? Is it about God or is it about something else? Hey, Bumpy Johnson. Hey, Terry. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier up at the Unicorn, is that a lot of people don't understand the original roots of hoodoo and voodoo were based on things that had to do with, spiritual things and with the Most High. But a lot of that has been distorted and been twisted, and there's been other things that have been brought into those things, with, occultism. So they're not what they were originally. Yeah, it's, see, for me, I can't be in a denomination after growing up in the Catholic Church. I couldn't do that again. That's why I just go to a church that is a fellowship that's about what's in the Word of God. The head of our church is the one above. You know what I'm saying? We're not answering to some person that's detached over in, some other country. And because of the atrocities that were allowed to go on within that, in the Catholic Church, that turned me off to denominations, period. And denominational rules that have nothing to do with the Bible at all. They're man-made. Well, the thing is that up at the Unicorn, and the reason why so many people feel pushed away is because, again, many of us don't recognize who we are in the ancient writings and in the scriptures, you know, because it's been whitewashed. It's been whitewashed. But when you know what you know, it you can't accept that, you know, and if you can't find a fellowship that's, you know, about that, then yeah, a lot of people just kind of don't go. They don't go to church. A lot of people don't go to church for those reasons, and because they've been disenfranchised by what they see in a lot of organized religions, you know, with the you know, pimping pastors. Absolutely, we are 1SP, but the problem is that many of us don't understand that. Many of us do not understand that fact. You know, I know. I understand it. You know, most of you guys in the chat understand that. You know, and I mean, there are many people who do understand that. But then on the other hand, you have many who don't. And they think that everything relational with the one with the Most High is for white people, and it's not for us. I don't understand that, but they do. And they think that because of people distorting the word of God, like during the time of slavery, like they actually had a Bible that justified what they were doing, you know? So they're distrusting, you know? But it's called about, you do your research, you look in there, you do the studying, understanding, seeing who we are, understanding who we are. I agree with what you're saying, 1SP. That's part of the reason why Terry and I have been talking about who the Khazarian Jews are, so people understand that they are not the Hebrews of old. They are Jews because their ancestors converted to the religion of our ancestors, and it was stolen from us. Yeah, because they try to make everything seem like it's anti, you know, and it's not anti. It's just, you know, it's just the truth. You just have to give the knowledge. People have to understand what the truth is. You know what I mean? And it's just a great deception. The great deception. Israel, modern Israel is a great deception, y'all. And it's not even about God's covenant with our ancestors. It's about power. It's about politics. It's about greed. It's about resources. They just threw, you know, the other stuff on there for cherry purposes. You know, the cherries on top. Just throw, oh yeah, by the way, you know, this is the land. And have these people believing that, you know, that what the ancient Jews turned from black to white? Stop it. That's right, you're a soldier. You are a soldier, 1SP. The soldier of the Most High. I know. You're absolutely right, Terry. They're not. Man, they don't even believe in God. They don't even believe in God. So, yeah. You know. And they simply use the Khazarian Jews for their own purposes. Period. Well, once again, my disclaimer is everything that I'm saying are simply things that we've researched, and it's all available on YouTube. So, if you want to look up information about the Khazarian Jews, you can look it up. Look up their history. If you want to know about the Black Hebrews, you can look it up. You know, I mean, just think about it. We have people like Tiffany Haddish, who is a Black Hebrew descendant. And it's just crazy that so few of us can actually trace that information. You have to wonder why. Hey, Raining Woman. You know? But then you have these people in these little small isolated portions of Africa who are able to identify unequivocally their Hebrew roots. You know? It's just crazy how we're being fooled. And they want to keep us ignorant of the truth. Well, you know what I'm talking about, Wednesday. A Black Jew. Black Israelites. Real Black Israelite. They can actually trace their roots. That's what I meant. And I guess that would be the same thing with Nipsey Hussle's families from that same country. Sorry, y'all, I'm drinking some water. I had to drink some water.
Take a breath.
I had to drink some water, take a breath, and drink some water. But Terry, I think we're gonna have to probably start up our series again, especially since it's Black History Month. That is true. Yahweh has all power, for he is all powerful, all knowing. That's a fact, Terry. Yep. Because folks need to know what's really going on. Folks need to know what's really going on. Oh, that's coming up. Especially in light of the recent, very recent death of Kobe Bryant. I don't know if there's any Illuminati interest in that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Because as I told you guys before, athletes are considered entertainers, along with comedians, people in the music industry, people in Hollywood. And Kobe was touching on 3 of those things. He was an athlete, he had done some music, and he was now in Hollywood. You know, but I have to think about how I'm going to cover this Illuminati conversation without, out it becoming a trolled live situation. So I think it's going to have to be in parts. I don't think it's going to be a one part. And just, talk about the existence or non-existence of the Illuminati, as they say. Oh, yeah. The Make-A-Wish Foundation. I don't know. Oh, did you guys, on another subject, completely top, but funny, did any of you guys see The Masked Singer tonight? It premiered. And the first person voted off was the robot. And the robot was Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne came on. Yeah, he did a rock song or something. And he didn't disguise his voice. It sounded just like him. I don't know how they didn't know it was him. Yeah, well, he was on there. He said he did it for his kids. Yep, that's the truth. That's the truth, Uppity Unicorn. That's part of the conversation that Terry and I have been trying to delicately push through. We're about to hit the 80s. Because, that's part of the reason why we're going over the history of the Palestinian Liberation Organization. No, God being all powerful doesn't mean you will get what you want. What you want has got to be within his will. If it's not within his will and it's just your will, that's not going to happen. You know, it's not going to happen. You know, just like we really don't understand, you know, why some people, you know, appear to live a good life from what we see, and they die young. And then you see other people who raise hell and they're around until they're old. And it seems like they never pay any consequences. You just, you know, so I mean, that being said, you know, we have an all-knowing and all-powerful God, but you know, God's will, God, everything is not within God's will because number one, God has given us a free will. So we can choose to do something or not to do something, and depending on what choice we made, if it's not within his will, then what it is that we may be praying for or wanting to happen or whatever may not come to pass. I don't even think we understand. I mean, we don't understand the will of God. And I hate when people use that and say it was just in the will of God. We don't understand what the will of God is. We don't know, you know, why things happen. I don't like people to use that term because it doesn't even make sense. Only one. You can have one. Exactly. Man can do many things that are evil. That's not within God's will. That's not actually the will of God. That's God allowing us free will to do certain things. Now, there's certain things, obviously, that there may be intervention of a supernatural to stop things from happening. But that's not always the case. Sometimes he just allows it to happen. Because I believe the Almighty could stop everything, but he doesn't. Well, up at the unicorn, that's because they have America and Great Britain backing them. Without us, without this country, and without Great Britain, they'd be nothing. They have no power. They need us to be powerful because we protect them for our own selfish reasons. Yeah, and I was saying that too. That's what I was trying to say earlier. You know, I'm gonna say like, okay, like I'll give an example. When people are praying for a loved one and praying for the healing of that loved one, and it doesn't always happen, it's not because it's not because of their faith was weak. It has nothing to do. You know, it's not necessarily, you know, because their loved one's faith was weak, and it's not always because it's the will. You know, we're not saying you know, it's God's will for that to happen. Sometimes it's just the time. You know, all of us are on this earth for a designated amount of time, and things like that. So if it's a person's time, it doesn't matter the faith of those around them. If they're supposed to go at this time, then they're going to go at this time. I ran one of yours. I wanted to know. I'm gonna run your live streams next because I just finished running another person's stream that took over a week. So now I can run. So now I can run your other one. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. In regards to wars, we see them all throughout. We see them all throughout the Word of God, where there were wars. You know, but again, there was for specific reasons. You know, a lot of the stuff that what we're doing now, we're most of the things that are going on now is all about greed and all about power. It's about stealing resources. It's about the resources of the earth. You know, like all the stuff that's going on in the Middle East, it's about that oil. It's about the land. It's about the resources in Africa, being close to all of that stuff. It's like you know, a vicious circle of why all of this stuff is going on now. Exactly. But we've been at war for over 25 years, y'all. We have been at war for over 25 years because the original Gulf War, yeah, was like what in like 1990, 89, 90. Yeah, over 25 years. You know, we have been at some sort of war with stuff going on in the Middle freaking East. Yep.
It's 12 o'clock. You gotta go to work in the morning? Yeah. Did you ever go to work in the morning? Time for bed.
Yeah.
12 o'clock.
We're trying to get David to go to bed because he has to go to work in the morning. As you guys know, I'm off, but I'm getting ready to shut this down in a few minutes. Let's see. I'm just looking to see what you guys are saying in the chat. Yeah, exactly, Emmanuel. Exactly. It's about the resources. And, you know, you guys do know that, like, the famines that happen and shortages of things, all of that is man-made. We make there be famines. We make there be hunger in our countries. It's all systematic. I see what you said up in the unicorn. Ooh, a necromancer. Yep. But guys, I'm gonna get ready to get off of here. I will be off and on tomorrow because I'm off work until after my birthday. And it's after 12 o'clock, so now it's what? One more day to my birthday. I know, guys. I get silly like that. But I'm getting ready to go. But before I go, let me just come on so you guys can see me. Oh, there I am. Hey everybody. So anyway, until later on today, peace, guys. Where am I? Right. Yep. Here I am. Yep. Peace and blessings from the West Side, guys. I'll see you guys later today. Bye, everybody. Good night.